All right, let's get into game number 2. Game number 1, actually pretty damn close for SODIPOP, and that bodes well for the team. But we'll see where we're headed in just a second. First game on Lijiang Tower. Will it be another King of the Hill? Will it be a payload? Will it be assault? Looks like we're going to payload. It's Watchpoint Gibraltar. And this is actually an interesting one. There was a recent change to the map where the payload now moves slower.
Yeah, I think that was made to just help the defense a little bit more.
Yeah.
I think in general, I'm not sure Blizzard is super happy with the offense-defensive split where at the high end, the offense does usually get to the end more often than not. So just a little bit of tweak to try and even things out a little bit. I think it's probably for the best. But going to Gibraltar, this is a map that historically has been pretty favorable to complexity. Of course, we talked a little bit in the pregame how they had that legendary game versus C9 where Harblue sort of carried it on his own. But even looking past that, it's been one of their better maps. So SODIPOP going forward, I realize that this was their choice of the remaining map pool, but they're going to have a little bit of trouble, I think, going into this against complexity. It's not impossible, but they're definitely going up a tall hill.
Do you think we're going to see Roadhog out of Harblue here? I mean, this is one of the few maps that really does favor Roadhog. I mean, you can, especially on the first point, you can hide up on the hall, up the staircase, or up on the high ground. Do you think we're going to see Roadhog?
I think Roadhog is a possibility. I think Roadhog is one of those things where you don't want to run it every time on a map like Gibraltar, or just in general. You don't want to be predictable with it because you can really isolate a Roadhog and deal with it. But Harblue in general has had a very good Roadhog play, and other teams have shown that if you mix it in every now and then, it can catch people off guard and win you 1 or 2 fights on its own before you really start getting focused in and targeted by a Zen and everything else. So I think a Roadhog has a decent chance of showing up. Maybe it will, maybe it won't, but mixing it every now and then definitely isn't bad.
Yeah, we did actually see Roadhog a little bit last night. We even saw the Roadhog Zarya combo. I think it was Energy playing that a little bit late in the night, just in the, I guess, the round of 8. But here we are, semifinals. Gonna figure out who's going on to the grand finals. Will be the champion of qualifier number 4 for NA. And will we see a Roadhog for complexity? Probably not on attack, that's for sure.
Oh, actually.
Or will we?
Look at this. Harblue saying, I actually still might go Roadhog.
Okay, there you go. Interesting.
We'll take a look at the defense coming up from SODIPOP. Relatively standard, going to be agilities, not on a Genji, but on a Reaper. Nobi on the Reinhardt, hyped on the Winston. Jer on the Lucio. Grim Reality going to be on McCree, and hype going to be on Zenyatta. Hype and hyped on the same team, man. That gets confusing.
Yes, it's true. There is a hype and a hyped on the same exact team. I don't know how that ended up happening, but it is what it is.
Could be worse. Could have been IDD QB on the team IDD QB back in the day, and that would have been miserable.
Yep.
But Harblue does look for that first pick, doesn't find it just yet. SODIPOP, they're just going to hold back. Teams never really contest the first point here in Gibraltar. It's not worth it. Much preferable to defend the second point, which has the same spawn points in any case. And for now, they're just holding the server room, keeping Complexity back. Complexity just fighting for key positioning, hoping that Harblue gets a pick.
Okay, Complexity pushing ever closer as they do come over the top very carefully. Not actually overextending at all. A Genji is going to look for the flank, but the rest of the team is making their way very slowly over the top. In fact, they've stopped pushing the payload. This is pretty interesting. There's a nice hook to start things off.
A big kill, too. Grim Reality, one of the biggest players for SODIPOP. But SODIPOP able to bring it right back. Nobi's going in, swinging the hammer, picking up 2 kills. And overall, this is still in favor of them. Torque running into Agilities in the worst way. Actually going to get out of it in time. Agilities just going for the melees there to not shoot himself in the face. Even though melee doesn't do any damage to the flank, it won't do damage back.
All right, so that push shut down for Complexity even after Harblue got the early pick. And it was actually strange to see that the kills were coming from the tanks. It was coming from Reinhardt and it was coming from Winston to get those early picks, but the engagement is now. It's going to be a couple of ults dropped very quickly in succession for SODIPOP, resulting in 2 kills. Make that 3. Complexity back to the drawing board again, but at least they might be able to eke out a nice little ultimate advantage for this next push.
The interesting thing about that for SODIPOP there is that Earthshatter and Soundbearer both came out down at the exact same time. If they staggered it a little bit, they actually could have told one or the other to stop it for a moment. I think Reinhardt should have gone for the Earthshatter first, and then Lucio could have held just a little bit more because knocking down 2 people, you don't really need the Soundbearer to clean that up, but a little bit of a waste there. SODIPOP still pretty high up on ults. I think they'll be fine for the second push. Here comes Agility. He's dropping right down. Death Blossom on the way. Takes out 2 immediately. Red Complexity like a book and just sets up his team for Glorious. Grim Reality piles on with the McCree cleanup. And just so you know, that was not a Deadeye. That was pure left clicking.
And that was pretty funny because Agilities actually landed on the head of Reinhardt. That's actually so frustrating when you're playing Reinhardt and you know that the Death Blossom's coming. You're trying to back away, trying to shield your team, but instead of using your shield, he lands on your head.
He got to roleplay a Koopa Troopa there. That's all I'm going to say about that. But We do see Complexity setting up here once more. Ultimate situation much more favorable for them here. Dragon Blade is ready. They don't have Sound Barrier, but they will be able to be aggressive with Transcendence if they just stay around Shake. Shake, though, eating some serious poke in the beginning. So they're going to back out a little bit, wait for an opportunity. Speed boosting in. Here comes Torque. Dragon Blade is unleashed, goes to the back, looking for Grim Reality. Going to run right into this Transcendence, though, and just charged against the wall. Nomi saying no to the Genji play there, but Complexity not done yet. They're able to flank around the side, and Hardblue still getting some serious work done as they fight for this point.
Hardblue, by the way, your gun does more damage than the melee. Nicely done, though. Eventually going to get the kill. He's going to take down Hyped as well, and now it's tank-on-tank action, and this never ends well for Reinhardt. So after being stumped not once, not twice, but 3 full pushes completely shut down for Complexity, they're finally going to move forward with some momentum. That said, still an opportunity for SODIPOP to stop this.
SODIPOP is running in, but Hardblue has been vicious with his hook pickoffs. It's about 3 in a row now. Took out Lucio, who poked out a little bit too early, did not respect the hog, was punished in turn. Torque able to take out Hyped, and Complexity is just chaining deaths right now. SODIPOP needs to get out if they want to set up well in the hangar.
Yeah, I don't like the decision there to drop in. They should have just set up in the hangar, gotten the high ground, grouped up together. They weren't together as 6 in that last fight,
well,
so yes, CP.
The turning point for that, I think, was for the Lucio. The Lucio shouldn't have, like, once he got picked, they should have just backed out. I think Lucio overpoked, and that's the reason. I think until that, they had Lucio, they could have turned it, but other than that, didn't work out.
Okay, so high ground has been taken, but still, SODIPOP is not together as a team, and the Reinhardt's all by himself. This is actually super risky. Reinhardt and one other on the bottom side, but actually Nomi is able to take out both the TJO brothers, Reinhardt and someone else. I can't even tell who's down there right now, but that was looking terrible. I didn't like the move, but I was wrong. Zarya and Reinhardt together made it happen.
They absolutely did, and really Nomi's been quietly having an absolutely great game.
Absolutely.
A lot of situations here where you look at the kill feed, 2 or 3 kills in Nomi, just walking forward, putting themselves in the right spots at the right times to really keep SODIPOP in this, and they're giving Complexity all sorts of trouble. I mean, there's no guarantee that Complexity even gets through the hangar here. Both teams gonna have a whole lot of ults here in the next fight, though. We'll see how this goes.
Yeah, 3 full minutes is plenty of time to make it through the hangar, but this has not been a quick push by any stretch of the imagination. Grim Reality now working on a high noon, only able to get 1, but 1 pick is pretty damn good here. JKW will respond, taking out the Reaper for the enemy team. Grim Reality, though, up top has been unfettered. He's been able to rain down hell from above, yet that payload still moves forward, and it's getting closer and closer to the checkpoint.
Yeah, this is interesting. SODIPOP's definitely gotten more kills here, but they're disciplined. The payload's been lacking. Hardblue just took out Hype, gets a double kill. Hardblue making the hog work all sorts of well right now. And JKW just swings the hammer for a little bit more. Tanks coming in big here from Complexity, and they do get through the hangar. And now the outlook of the game has completely changed. SODIPOP, which might have been tinkering the idea of a hold and hangar, now it's going to be everything they can do to actually stop this before it hits last.
Yeah, that said, though, we do see teams tend to roll through Gibraltar pretty quickly, so an okay defense so far for SODIPOP. Let's see how they set up on the final point, though.
For SODIPOP, I think for them, they'd like to burn about another 2 minutes off the clock. If they do that, that's going to be good. If they do that, it's going to be dependent on Hyped. However, they do have to watch out for Nicholas here. Nicholas is setting up for a Death Blossom. Will be able to speed boost right in. Here comes a Deadeye from Torque. Just going to zone things back. It's going to give Nicholas a little bit of space as he moves in. We'll see what Nicholas does here in just a moment. Joe Meister waiting for the opportunity. Here comes Graviton, though, out from SODIPOP. Does pull in a whole lot of people. Grim Reality looking for the Deadeye on the flank. Not liking what he's seeing right here at all, and actually has to shelve it. Finds JKW all out position. He's going to go down.
JKW, I like what he was thinking, but he just got a little bit too far ahead of the rest of his team. That said, Hardblue picks up 1, picks up a 2nd. Torque is going to get 2 as well, and this might be all that the TJO brothers and Complexity need to pull this payload into its final resting place. Desperation all from Jared trying to keep this alive, but it's not enough.
They will end up falling in the end. That was a time about 6:49 or so being set by Complexity. And in the end, they should be happy that they set that time. Things are looking really grim for them. They need to get through the hangar phase above average time-wise. They were able to do that and sort of recover.
Yeah, in a strange way, ZP, even though the time was set with a couple of minutes left on the clock, that still felt like an okay defense just because SODIPOP was able to shut down pushes time and time again. At least for the first couple of minutes, it was looking pretty nice for SODIPOP.
Yeah, SODIPOP, I mean, they definitely had their moments of greatness there. I will say that if there was an X factor on Complexity that really brought it back in for them, it was Hardblue. And it wasn't even, a lot of those fights, it wasn't that Hardblue was picking people off to start the fight. It's that the fight would be going on for a while, trading off evenly, and then Hardblue would just put himself in good situations and start slowly but surely get one pick off in the middle of the fight, and then pick off 2 in the end. And then actually, while they were still chaining deaths, SODIPOP lacked discipline in a few areas, and they would sort of overly poke to see what was going on, and they would run into a Roadhog hook and die. So Harblu was sort of the glue that kept everything together for Complexity in the end.
Yeah, and Harblu is actually one of the very few people that still plays Roadhog in the current meta. He plays him quite a lot. Maybe not on King of the Hill, but here, especially on this map, does definitely make sense, and he has been able to get tons of value from the hook time and time again.
Yeah, I mean, I've always thought since the change that, as far as Harblu is concerned, it's a lot better. Or rather, Roadhog has been a little bit underplayed. Obviously, Zenyatta gives him fits. Zenyatta turns Roadhog into a walking ult pinata. You shoot him, get tons of ult. But if you're careful about your Roadhog play, especially if the rest of your team focuses on Zenyatta early, I still think he can be quite viable, and teams sort of knee-jerk started underplaying him when he's still actually quite good.
Yeah, I mean, it really does come down to the fact that a single hit hook at the start of an engagement will be enough in a lot of cases to open up an entire point for you. So it is a risk, but it also has a really high reward.
Alrighty, so right now we see Complexity setting up here once more. Harblu opening up really early here, taking out Agility, stopping him in his tracks. Agilities was looking for that classic Genji poke to build up Dragon Blade, and Harblu just not having any of it.
I mean, look at this. Harblu is not even really with his team. He's a, 15, 20 meters away from the rest of his team for the most part. They're all sitting back, and actually this is interesting positioning now for Complexity, because most people, they like to sit back in the server room, whereas Complexity is all up around the top side of the hangar here.
Ooh, Harblu doing it once
my
more.
goodness.
Dropped right down, took out his Kryptonite.
Somebody
Hype
stop this
going
man.
down immediately, and he got another hook onto the other Hype. Oh my goodness, Harblu. If C9 is watching this right now, they still might be having a little bit of flashbacks from what happened to them on this map way back when. Harblu is just that good at playing the terrain, the Gibraltar, to his advantage.
It was kind of funny there. He was literally throwing the hook the moment it was off cooldown and hitting people every time. Only Harblu can do that.
Just scary, scary things coming out from Harblu, and SODIPOP
He's looking for it. He hears them, maybe. He hears maybe. The Winston's hitbox is pretty big, after all, and so is the hooks.
Be very quiet. We're hunting wabbits.
Winston's.
Or heroes in Overwatch.
Yes.
One of the two.
Okay, so they aren't sitting in the server room, which is going to allow SODIPOP to take that server room.
Yep, they do get in the server room, so it's decent positioning here from SODIPOP. But the hook is real, finds Agilities, and takes him out once more. And Harblu is the real issue that SODIPOP has to deal with right now. Complexity, they haven't had to do a whole lot, just generally protect Harblu, and Harblu's been going off, got another hook on the Hype, sending Winston on a ride. Should that even be legal? He could not even move, and Harblu really taking over this game right now.
Yeah, people love to see this from Roadhog, because, frankly, it gets kind of boring to see the same compositions over and over and over again, and even though we're only really seeing a slight deviation with Roadhog in play here, it's just fun to see. It's exciting to see, and every hook just feels satisfying. Even when you're not playing Roadhog, the hooks, they clunk, they yank, they pull, and they're going to get a kill most of the time.
All right, well, let's take a look at Agilities. Agilities going on the flank. Definitely being well aware of where Harblu is not want the same thing to happen, because Roadhog doesn't really care if you have a sword out. He will hook you all the same. Agilities is going to the back, has McCree in his sights, and is just waiting for the rest of his team to say they're going in, because he will go in turn. And they're going to have a sound bearer up for this as well.
Okay, actually, look at this. Reinhardt is coming all the way up top. Agility's left with just a sliver of health, but it does end up surviving. And now the Winston, for Complexity, is a little bit out of sorts. He's by himself. JKW could be caught out here, but this is just such an interesting defense from Complexity. They have split apart their defense all across this second point. They're coming from every angle, collapsing from every angle, and it's working damn well.
Well, SODIPOP just got impatient there too. Complexity did all the way back out there, basically retreating at that point, and SODIPOP blew their ultimates in an attempt to get in on them, when really Complexity was nowhere near them. It was a little bit of a misplay from SODIPOP. They should have played the payload a little bit more, forced Complexity to go for them. I think they were so terrified of getting hooked going around that they really did the buddy approach, and it just didn't work out. So even in a fight where Harblu was not doing as much directly, it still clearly got in SODIPOP's head.
Yeah, and I got to point out the uniqueness of this defense from Complexity. They're actually playing with Tracer on defense. Just going to show you that they're not sticking together. What they're doing is quite the opposite, and Nicholas is going to pull off an early kill, and that basically means this whole push is gimped from the get-go. They're going to waste a couple of ultimates here as Complexity racks up even more kills, and ZP, there's only 2 minutes and 50 seconds left on the clock. SODIPOP, they got to make something happen right here and right now.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people might be looking at the game time where they actually are close to losing before the overall timer just on that alone, but you think about how this map works. Now, we have seen times as quick as 2:55 on this map from start to finish, so mathematically this is still possible for SODIPOP, but really everything from this point out must go right for them. If they lose even a single fight, you could pretty much call this done. A lot going to be resting here on both Grim Reality and Hyped. Grim Reality going to be looking for the big Death Blossom. Hyped going to be looking to set it up. Harblue lurking in the back, just doing Harblue things, and he's going to take out Agilities early on, and this might be all but over here for SODIPOP.
Yeah, oh man. I feel like I'm sounding like a broken record, but what a cool defense set up by Complexity. Very unique, different. I love to see that from teams in Overwatch. Too often folks get stuck on the same old thing, and Complexity throwing that out the window. We're not sticking in the server room. We're going to stick all around the high grounds across the second point here.
The other thing I really like seeing too is that a lot of teams, including Complexity for a while, they really stopped running Roadhog in light of Zen coming back into meta, but I think they're slowly but surely mixing it in more and more often, and for Complexity here, the Roadhog obviously has been a huge factor in their success. Only a minute 35 remaining here. At this point, Complexity could almost leave the server and still win. Here it comes SODIPOP though, their last effort on the way. They run into Soundbear, and the bomb from Nicholas takes out two. Harblue's going to have the finishing dressing here, and if it wasn't over before, it is certainly over now. I'd expect GG to come out from the side of SODIPOP here any moment, and there it is.
Wow, ZP, you saw that one coming. It was mathematically impossible, and SODIPOP does realize that. Well played by Complexity. Super strong stuff. They were definitely the favorites in this game, but still, I'm impressed with what we saw, especially here on the second point. I mean, SODIPOP put up a great fight on Lijiang Tower, but here on Gibraltar, entirely one-sided.
I love how this is just like the best highlight reel.
The Harblue highlight.
It's the Harblue show with the music in the background, everything. It's just like, just so you know, this is Roadhog's team, and just the pure animal cruelty to Winston at the very end. What a game for Harblue.
Yeah.
I would be more impressed if I just hadn't seen him do this before in an even higher profile match against C9, but he's deadly on this hero. There's nothing else about it.
And that's right, this is the map where you do see Roadhog most prominent in the public games, but also in the private matches like we just witnessed. We have been joined by Alex. When Alex joins us, you know some team has gone out and some team has taken the victory.
Yes,
what did you think of that game? Pretty insane stuff, right?
I mean, I'll be honest, you know what I'm like, I'm a sucker for someone changing things up. I love it when a Widow crops up in video. I love it when we get to see a little bit from the Roadhog. You can get to see someone innovating. We saw Farah yesterday as well. That always does kind of get me a little bit excited, and Harblue is no exception to that, except at this point I shouldn't be surprised when he pulls out Roadhog.
Yep.
It's just the consistency by which he is making the play. Like, I just want to clarify that, you know, hitting hooks is one thing, but hitting hooks on primary targets, like catching a Genji before he sets up for a Dragon Blade, catching a Lucio before he rejoins his team. Like, it's not like he's just picking up anyone. These hooks, not only are they accurate, but they're on the right targets at the right time. That's what makes him so exceptional. I do think that you kind of want to reiterate this point, Ben. That's what I'm going to ask you to do, is your closing words were, it's nice to see a team doing the defense on Gibraltar differently. Could you explain a little more about that? You referred to higher ground.
Yeah. So at a certain point, everybody realized that it doesn't make sense to hold the first choke point, the first underground area. It's just very, very difficult to hold that point, and if you lose it, you're going to get screwed for the next point. So most teams started holding into the server room, which if you're on attack, you come up and it's on the right. This team, they didn't even have anyone in the server room. They were holding all around the top, on the walkways, above, and then often Harblue was actually by himself at certain points, almost baiting out, saying, SODIPOP, I dare you to try to kill me, because everyone else just collapsed as soon as they did.
Yeah, it was a real problem. CP?
Well, the funny thing about that is that literally on the top level teams is actually called pulling a Harblue. And it's something you have to look out for play against Complexity. It actually has its own name. If you're in a pub game, for example, and a Roadhog is off on his own flanking, it's like, okay, we got Harblue. I'm not making this up or pulling it out anywhere. So Complexity, that might be just a note in their favor here against SODIPOP, or SODIPOP probably doesn't have the most experience playing against them. Other teams that Complexity plays against definitely go out of their way to look for Harblue, because he does like flanking in a way that's much more aggressive
Sure.
than your average Roadhog.
So if you were sitting there and you had an audience with SODIPOP, the counterplay to Roadhog and a Roadhog play like Harblue, you hinted at it before. Is it just the fact that Zen can just throw a Discord on him and he can melt? I mean, how do you play against Harblue?
Well, the way you play, obviously you include a Zen, but more than that, you also just look on the flanks, look at sneaky areas that he could be hiding, because there are points there. To give you an example, most of Complexity was further back, on the high ground, all the rest, whereas Harblue was just back in a sort of hidden area, but way away from his team.
Right.
You hunt for him a little bit earlier, take him out, then you've turned what could be a great flank from Complexity into a terrifying 5v6 situation where they're not likely to win.
Okay, I mean, yeah, that's right. Punishing the overextension is something we always talk about with your Tracers and your Genjis. It's rare that we sit here and say the Roadhog. We have had a spectacular performance in our first semi-final here for the North American region. And first, we're going to have a look at one spectacular performance, or rather, I should use the word incredible performance, as it is none other than the incredible play of the game, brought to you guys by our friends over at ROG, Republic of Gamers, bringing you this one. Now, chances of this being a Harblue Hook Fest is likely, that's true, but there was a lot of other plays going down across the board. We got to see some mad reaping from Nicholas alongside others, and we'll see what necessarily has been chosen. It does look like it's going to be none other than Harblue. Look at this. Catches the Genji. Again, Agility's caught out of position, and it's just going to be hooks after hooks. That's another support player down, pulling them in, even taking a Zarya and taking her to town. Of course, Hype and Hyped just falling foul to this one. It's going to be Agility's again, just learning their lessons. I love this. So just a full compilation of the power of this one man on this one hero. And I mean, you dubbed it so beautifully before. Animal cruelty. Winston in the corner, nowhere to go, nowhere to hide, and Nomi did meet his demise. This is my favorite one, though. Just as he was about to rejoin his team, he just goes and causes additional damage, pulls the healer, if only you got the kill. All-rounder spectacular plays. I think that's pluralized. Plays of the game, as Lucio did just get ripped apart towards the end there. Harblue, MVP. I'm not even going to ask you guys to disagree with that one.
Not at all. But you got to give it up to the whole team.
Yes.
This Complexity team played extremely well together. It was because of the fact that everyone was going to just pounce on anyone that tried to go for Harblue, that he survived and got so many kills.
Yeah, I have no doubt that SODIPOP are going to be sitting there thinking like when even when in public, even when you're just playing a quick play or you're playing a quick rank game and there's one Roadhog that keeps hooking you, you're just like, this guy is so frustrating. Like there is counterplay to it. There is counterplay, but sometimes it doesn't feel like it. And SODIPOP have been eliminated. They will not be making it further than the semi-finals here. However, they will have got that extra step further in the points, of course, through the leaderboards, battling for that spot above the rest in seeding. Very important as we do progress into the playoffs. For now, though, that's one team locked in for the grand finals. And coming up next, you get to see NRG versus Liquid. This has been an unbelievable affair. NRG have been popping up and cropping up in the second day of our Overwatch weekends, time after time, as have Liquid. One of them is going to make it to the grand final this time. We'll find out who after the break.